like Steve Edwards said, my 10 comments about leadership are in the brochure, and I think you'll enjoy reading it more than you will hearing me today. I have to tell you, Brandy, I took a shortcut and saved a lot of money with this counseling reference that you made. I married a counselor. So last night I tried to access some of that free service. I wanted to go over what I was going to say. I said, it's just an outline, honey. So I started in on it. When I was done, I said, well, what'd you think? Did I come close to 5 or 7 minutes? She says, honey, it sounded like 4 hours. So I am not the speaker I once was. I actually enjoyed it. Not that I'm not enjoying this, but I really did get out and about and gave some pretty good speeches. But about 14 years ago, I got nailed. It felt like a hockey game, you know, where you get slammed into the glass. What's that called? Checking? I got checked big time. And I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. That's 14 years ago. I feel very blessed and lucky, but that's a whole nother speech. But I'll tell you this much. When I was told I had Parkinson's, I could not really come to terms with it. I had some major league ambitions and goals. And for some reason, I thought that was going to get in the way. You know, much like you, all of you probably have an adversity or a cross to bear, or whatever terms you use. But we all have a struggle. And this just happens to be mine. It turns out that it's doable. It's very doable. But I was saying in my 10 comments about leadership, there was 2 that I wanted to talk about. One was that of overcoming adversity. And if you read it, you'll see that I made reference to a couple of presidents that do an awful good job and done an awful good job of creating their own conflicts, but overcoming their adversity quite well. And you know, I mentioned Bill Clinton did a good job of overcoming his adversity, self-inflicted as it may be. And then we have a current president that's going through some challenges, and we'll see. But all kidding aside, they had some talent. Overcoming adversity of any kind, whether it's health-related or otherwise, is very, very difficult, but necessary. I enjoy writing those 10 leadership characteristics that all of us in this room need to possess, because I did some research, and what I was able to do is extract from the research, which there was way more than I needed. You can imagine, you Google leadership, and you know, there's not much on followership, but there sure is on leadership. And so I extracted the top 10, and it turns out that overcoming adversity is a characteristic that's needed. You got to weather the storm. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And so we talked about that a little bit. And then communication came up. And it came up because there's an old saying that without good communication, you will have no understanding on the other side. They will not understand. If you don't understand, one thing they promise you is conflict. And none of us, including you, enjoy conflict. You have to be a masochist to enjoy that. And so we tried to avoid conflict at all costs. So what you want to do is be a good communicator. Well, I was reading that and thinking, well, I'm screwed. Yeah. Because the research went on to say that only about 16% at the most, it was fluctuating from about 10 to 16%, is the content. It's what I'm saying right now. 16% of it matters and will be absorbed. The rest, to my luck, is body language, facial cues, and voice tone. And so that doesn't coincide too well. So what I have a military side of our family, and a couple of the Marines would always tell me, we are great at improvising. So I took that to heart, and 2 years ago, 1917, I was really struggling with the ability to give a message to an audience. And I wasn't going to give up. I put to play improvising. And so it turned out I turned a lemon into lemonade. I really did. Go on YouTube and listen to what I put together on 2017 back to school kickoff. Trust me, I would never advise anybody to go to YouTube, but this is well worth it if you want to see how I improvise. Long story made short, I audio taped my message after I wrote the script, and it was 8 minutes of animation, and it turned out much better than I could have ever delivered, even prior to the Parkinson's diagnosis. And so, you know, God draws straight with crooked lines. I had an old priest friend of mine tell me that, and I think he is right. God does draw straight, but with crooked lines sometimes. 2 quick gifts of ideas. Schools and institutions have enough money to do anything they want to do, just not everything. I wanted to get that out there because it is priorities that makes the difference. And secondly, as Steve Edwards alluded to, we need to be change agents. Change is inevitable, but the pain is optional. So enjoy your day, and thank you, Dr. Jackson, for this opportunity.